Okay, Grace. So what have we got here?
Three press releases exploring Mike Kelly's abstract, uncanny exhibition.
Yeah. Okay. So the first article that we looked at was the official press release from the Tate Gallery.
Yeah.
And they describe it as The Uncanny is based on a project originally presented by Kelly more than a decade ago, which has been revised and updated for the Tate Liverpool.
Yeah.
Then it says Freud described the uncanny as a hidden familiar thing that has undergone repression and then emerged from it, which we know because we've looked at the uncanny.
Yeah, we have loads and loads and loads.
Loads of detail, haven't we? Yeah. Then it says, in the uncanny, Kelly explores memory, recollection, horror and anxiety through the juxtaposition of a highly personal collection of objects called can you remember what they were called? Harems. Yeah. With an investigation of the uncanny through realist figurative sculpture. Okay, so that's what they said in their official press release. Okay. Then we looked at an article in the Telegraph. So this was by Richard Dormant. Yeah. And he called the article Teetering on the Edge of Reality.
Yeah. I like that phrase.
Yeah. Why do you like that phrase?
Because I'm teetering on the edge of reality.
Okay.
So I almost died and then I came back. I mean, you've butchered me.
So you can personally relate to that title?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So, and as a whole, what did we find about this article? How did he like the exhibition? Did he dislike it?
He disliked it. Because
this one,
and
this one, the Guardian wasn't so keen.
No.
This guy,
he loved it.
Yeah, he really liked it, didn't he?
Yeah,
so he says, the strange, unsettling juxtaposition of sculptures in Mike Kelly's exhibition highlights the small difference between what is art
and what
what isn't exactly. And he says that he thinks about the uncanny as seemingly supernatural, but he's saying that the word seemingly is important because it's because uncanny is actually different from like ghostly.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he says, so when we jump out of our seats in a horror film, we react physiologically to something that terrifies us.
Yeah.
But when we invest in objects and events with an uncanny significance, we use our imagination.
Yeah.
And he's saying that it's that imagination that distinguishes us from animals. Yeah. So then he goes on to say, Mike Kelly's exhibition examines this universal attraction to the eerie and unexplained phenomena by juxtaposing the works of realist figurative sculptures. And he says things that are so lifelike that we may mistake them for real people or animals, with waxwork figures, stuffed animals, and life-size mannequins. And it says, in doing so, he asks us to think about the difference between what is art and what isn't. And he said that that's a theme that has kind of continued from like the 1960s onwards. And he says, positively, what these inanimate objects have in common is the way that they make us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, because he says that we think they're so lifelike that they might
take over the world
and move. Yes.
And move.
So he said the longer we look at them, the less safe we feel.
Yeah.
So the moment we turn away, we wonder whether they'll
move
when we're not looking.
Yeah.
So he says it turns out that the uncanny is a very subtle phenomenon. It is hard to summon up and easily lost. Maybe it is in the deadpan installation in the modern white galleries of the Tate Liverpool, but only fitfully could I feel a sensation I could identify as fear. I wish I had the foresight to ask the director to let me spend the night in the gallery only to see if my remaining hair really did turn white. So he says that, to sum up, he liked it. He wasn't really fearful, but he did
Want to stay there a bit longer.
to see if, a bit like Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to see whether he would be genuinely scared. But with the uncanny, is the whole purpose to make us feel just scared?
Yeah.
Or
Makes us feel a bit uncomfortable.
So do we have to feel scared?
No, we don't. We don't have to feel scared at all.
Yeah.
Because nothing's scary.
Because I think...
Nothing I know is scary.
Yeah, because I think in a way he went to the the exhibition expecting to be...
Frightened.
Yeah, whereas is that what the uncanny really is?
Yeah, it is. It's like unusual.
Exactly, so it's not just scary, is
No,
it?
it's not scary.
It's unusual.
Yeah, it is.
So, but overall, his review of the exhibition was positive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Now move on to the next one.
Okay,
That's
so then we looked at The Guardian.
Yeah,
and
I don't think I like. Yeah, I don't think that was a very good opinion of it.
Yeah. So Adrian Searle,
Mm-hmm.
he says he's unsettled by Mike Kelly's gruesome...
Sorry.
It's all right.
Sure.
So he's unsettled by Mike Kelly's gruesome Tate Liverpool show, and he says inside the mind of an insane collector.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says this must be some kind of terrible mistake, I shouted as one does in a nightmare, recoiling at the threshold. Things loomed on the other side of the doorway, horrible things, unspeakable things that I had hoped never to see again. So that's how he starts off the article.
Yeah.
Then what else does he say? The uncanny brings together a wide range of figurative sculptures, mannequins, dummies, sex dolls, animatronic puppets, and body fragments.
Yeah.
Religious bits and pieces, stuffed animals, his harems, which we talked about.
Yeah.
He says the entire exhibition is an inventory of good art and bad art, the creepy, the weird, the stupid, the unpleasant, the misconceived, and the plain nasty. He describes Kelly as a sly artist, and that makes him wary of his reactions. So he says, should I pause at the individual works, many of which are interesting in awful ways, or regard Kelly's exhibition as a total kind of artwork? Does anything actually feel uncanny rather than look creepy, repellent, or taboo? So he's actually questioning whether Kelly's exhibition is
Uncanny.
In the first place. It says the exhibition is full of examples of scrambled or dismembered bodies, hyper-realistic sculptures that look like
Real.
dolls, tea parties,
Yeah.
sex parties, torture and autopsy parties.
Yeah. How'd you have an answer as bad? They're all dead then.
Oh yeah. Well, I think he did have some on display that looked like an autopsy. Then he says our reflexive affinity.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, you remember.
Yeah, I do.
Our reflexive affinity to things that appear lifelike but have never been alive at all is not dissimilar to a child with a comfort doll, half aware that a doll is a surrogate and overriding the fact. We will see these things in life despite ourselves and so often fall for them. So he summarises by saying the exhibition teaches us that there is a fine line between good art,
and
for example Robert Gober,
Rob Glober's dismembered leg.
Yeah, remember his leg?
Yeah, I do.
Or Bruce Newman, or Kelly himself,
Yeah.
and complete and utter trash.
Yeah.
And he says basically that there's a lot of trash
Yeah, there is.
in the exhibition. My own mock anxieties and explanations collude in the reaction to this, and what is odd that there is very little genuine horror here, except in a few photographs. He said the shocks are mostly aesthetic rather than to do with the shock of human recognition. For that we have to go somewhere else. And then finally he says there are some good stories in the uncanny, some really pleasurable encounters, even when it is an encounter with some truly terrible art. Amusement and laughter may not be appropriate, but they are a good defence not only against the appalling and the abject, but against the uncanny urge that might otherwise make one believe that any of this was real.
Yeah.
So he's not quite as
There's another one there.
positive,
Oh, no, it's okay.
is he?
No, it's not. That one.
The first one.
No, that second one. I don't know which was
So,
the first one.
The first article, the Richard Dorman
Yes. That was not as positive as well. Neither was the other one. Neither was that one.
one. So that was the uncanny. That was the Tate Gallery
Yeah.
description.
Yeah.
And then we looked at the Telegraph
Yeah.
article,
Yeah.
and then the Guardian article. So which one would you say was a bit more positive? That one,
Yeah, that one.
the Telegraph.
Yeah, Telegraph, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit more positive,
Yeah, it was
wasn't it?
lots positive.
Because I think,
That one.
when we looked, you said that the Richard Dorman,
Yeah.
the author of this article, he said that basically everything in the exhibition was a form of art,
Yeah.
didn't he? Whereas this Guardian article says that there's a lot of trash
Yeah, there is.
in the exhibition that had no place being there really.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts?
I'm not gonna see it.
We can't now.
Why?
It's gone.
Oh. I would like to go and see it, but when
You
it's
would have
there.
liked to have gone
Yeah.
and see it. Okay.
Alright then.